the production company is out of Toronto, and they contacted me personally about being a part of the Enslaved docuseries. And one thing that I learned as well with just being in different industries, whether it's the film industry, whether it's television, or whether it's music, any of these industries, you have to be prepared. You ain't got time to be, let me get myself together and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's been times where an organization will reach out to me about being the keynote speaker for an event a week from now about a subject that I may not be the most experienced in, which means I have a whole week to prepare myself for the speaking event.
Right.
If I accept it.
Right.
You know? So I don't got time to be like, oh my God, like I don't know, and all this other stuff. You got to be ready. You know what I'm saying? So with the Enslaved docuseries, it's based upon a team of marine archaeologists, an organization called Diving with a Purpose, who are a Black organization out of Florida, who primarily teaches Black children about marine archaeology, because that's something that we traditionally don't really have access to as a people. So you know, they focus on that. And then for years, they've been documenting sunken ships, particularly those ships that are associated with the transatlantic slave trade, as well as the Underground Railroad. So the production company, Simca Jovovich, this is a guy who's an award-winning director. He brought in Samuel L. Jackson, and this is actually the first project that Samuel L. Jackson in his entire acting career has actually executive produced.
Wow.
In his whole career, this is the first project that he's actually put his name on in that capacity. So that's how connected he was to wanting to do a project like this, you know? So when they contacted me, you know, when you're dealing with like film productions or television series, there's a lot of moving parts and you have to be prepared, you know what I'm saying? So they were going to film here in Western New York originally, but a week before, during the research that they were doing, the ship that they were documenting never arrived here to Lake Erie. It actually went to another location. So they contacted me and it was like, are you comfortable? We're gonna have to fly you out to film in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And it's like, I can spell Sheboygan.
Right.
Never heard of that shit in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I just got to make adjustments, because I was teaching preschool at that time. And that week I've been preparing my students for like our final event. You know, we were having like a ceremony and stuff for their moving up day and graduation. So we were working on that all week, and I'm like, damn, okay, I gotta get out of town and go film and shit. So they flew me out like right after school one day, and I flew out of here. I went to Chicago. Then they drove me. A car came pick me up. I went from there to Wisconsin to Sheboygan. I didn't get there till probably like around midnight or something like that. And I had to be up at like 5:36 in the morning to eat to meet the film crew so that we could be out on a damn dive boat, which I've never been on before. And and the dive boat, we had to ride it like an hour and a half out into the middle of Lake Michigan for the scuba divers to dive, I think, over 1,000 feet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to be prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, I was prepared for it, and that was kind of like an experience that was surreal, because you know, I'm in this place, I'm meeting the crew for the first time, you know, and in terms of knowledge itself, we say that we're lords of all worlds. And that can be very theoretical for a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? We don't necessarily put ourselves in those different places. This comfort where we really got to be the true and living in this boardroom around these white folks. The same confidence and, you know, fire and shit like that in that environment, you know what I'm saying? Or if you're working with young children, I know that some of us want to speak cryptic and high science and archaic and shit, but can you break that shit down for a preschooler?
Right. Make it
You know what I'm
practical.
saying?
Make it
Or
easily digestible, you know?
yeah, yeah. Or if your great grandmother is receiving an award at the church and you're invited there, do you know how to navigate a space like that, maintaining your integrity by celebrating your great grandmother at the same time?
Right.
You know? And a lot of us may not put ourselves in those kind of environments, and that's one thing that I enjoy doing in terms of experiencing new places as like a forerunner, and to
Hmm.
show people like, yo, you can be in this space and still be who you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think God, I think a lot of times too, and like even with and speaking for self, you know, there's times where, you know, you might have an opportunity to do something and you've never done it before. It can make you somewhat uncomfortable. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is, if you go do it, you at the end you're always like, ah, man, that's not even as bad as what I thought it was going to be, right? And
Yeah,
then you get something out of it, man. And like we can never let fear dictate our decisions and our choices when it comes to, you know, expanding our universe and having these, because, you know, even with when it comes to the seeds and the babies, we want them to have as much experiences that they can while they're little. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
by the time they get older, it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, what
yeah,
you going to do? Oh, I'm going skydiving or something. You know, just whatever they're into, right? Like, but you never
yeah,
want them to feel like, because I know people that um have never even really been out of the city that they live in, you know? And so I can only imagine the type of fear that would be induced if they were given a certain opportunity to go do something else that is totally foreign and totally new. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
that's a real thing.
Yeah, yo, G, I had an experience like maybe a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I took this young brother across the border with me in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to this aerial obstacle course. Now
Oh, wow.
they had three different courses.
Mm-hmm.
They had like the child's course, they had like the intermediate, and then they had like the expert joint. So he's 12 years old, so he ain't got no fear about no shit.
Right, 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 right.
We go over there. I don't even really look at the courses like that. So we go inside the spot, and the
Mm-hmm.
dude is asking us like, "Yo, so which course you want to take?" He's like, "Yo, we just gonna do the expert course."
You're like, all right.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So he take us to the little it's like a short training that they put you through
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like the harness that you're wearing that's connected to it and all of this other stuff. And then after we go through the training, they take us over to the expert course. Now, the expert course, you go inside of the building to the roof of the building, climb up a damn ladder, get on a pedestal,
Right.
take a zip line over to the expert course,
Wow.
which is across the street
Right,
from it.
right.
Now, I live in Niagara Falls, which is right on the border of the Niagara River.
Mm-hmm.
This aerial obstacle course is right on the escarpment on the Canadian side. So while you're on top of it, which is over 2 stories high now, you
Mm-hmm.
can look down over the edge to all the way down to where the Niagara River is.
Wow.
Over
Wow.
400 feet. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So it took me about 20 minutes just to get on the damn course.
Right,
Dude
right.
is going through it and shit like
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I'm like, man, I can't let him clown me enough like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right, right.
and I'm talking about you're up over 2 stories, you know what I'm saying? And it's a
Mm-hmm.
harness connecting you to a rope that goes throughout the whole course.
Right.
But they have like areas where there are like a rope and one rope above you,
Mm-hmm.
only one rope beneath you, and you have to balance across the rope from
Oh,
one
wow.
pedestal to the next.
Wow.
And you're up that high. It
Wow.
took me about it took me about 2 hours to finish that damn
Are you
course.
serious?
Hell yeah. Because
Mhm.
you have to trust the equipment.
Right, right.
There's no
That's
other
hard to
way
do though, right?
you have to.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And he just went through it or whatever, but once he got through, I'm still getting through it and all of this other stuff. He's down way down on the ground, like he's encouraging me.
Right.
Like, come on, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yo, that's enlightening right there.
Yeah.
Really challenged me to be able to get over that fear of trusting that equipment. You know what I'm saying? Like the height and all that stuff, that wasn't as fearful for me, but it was just, you got to believe in this equipment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you think it's faulty, you ain't going to do nothing.
Nah, not at all.
So, a lot of times, like you're saying, once you go through that experience, you see, especially if you see others that go through it. And he's 12 years old, just zipping through it like it ain't nothing.
Right.
So I had the evidence in front of me, so a lot of times we serve the same purpose as that 12-year-old for others. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. That's deep, God. That's deep.
Please support and share with your networks our Atlantis School Renovation Project. Through a recently acquired property here in the city of Niagara Falls, New York, we are doing renovations to establish an early childhood learning center and after-school program for youth in our city. Despite students of color representing more than half the student population in this country, Black men represent less than 2% of that teacher workforce. So as a Black educator, my voice and presence within the lives of children is critical to combating family dysfunction, juvenile delinquency, and creating an inclusive workforce that ensures that all of our nation's students receive a quality, culturally enriched education, which consists of various projects, programs, and initiatives such as this cool animation series. This is not simply my profession, it is also my passion and my purpose. We would really appreciate your support and sharing this initiative with your networks. Thank you.